Now we do have a reload animation for our gun, but at the moment we never run out of bullets. So in this video we're going to create a finite amount of bullets before you have to reload. Okay, so the first thing that we need is a reload button. So we've got our shoot button. I'm going to duplicate that, Control and D, and just move that up above the shoot button. And I want this one to simply be a reload. So let me just change the text to say reload, all in capitals again. But I don't want this one to be red or for it to kind of be a big circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my joystick pack, sprites, and we do have some horizontal ones that I quite like. So for this I'm going to choose the horizontal ridged. Okay, and just make that a little bit bigger on the width and just a little bit bigger on the height. There we go. Now I don't want it to be red, I want this one to be orange. So I'm going to take this code, Control and C, just also put it on the selected code, Control and V. And then when you reload, I'm just simply going to turn this white and pressed also on white. Yeah, I think that's okay. If you want to go with one of the other ones, that's perfectly fine. Okay, but I think this should be okay. So that's my reload button. So let me just name it that. Let me just get rid of that one on the end. At the moment it's running this function. We're going to change this in a second, but I also have some bullets as well, graphics of bullets. Here we go, small bullet. So what I want to do there is on the canvas, just right click UI and a new image, drag the small bullet into the sprite, set native size, there we go, and we've got the bullet. This is not a raycast target, it's just a simple image, and I'm going to drag it down to the bottom and then over here to the right. So I want it basically to be very near to the shoot button. I'm wondering if that bullet is a little bit big actually. I might actually just reduce its scale down to 0.8 on X, Y and Z. I think that looks a little bit better. Alright, so this is bullet. In fact, what I'm going to do here is on the canvas, just right click and choose create empty. And I'll simply call this bullets so that we can keep all these objects together. Let's just take the bullet and put it onto bullets so that it's then a folder. And now I can duplicate this. So Control and D, and then I want to move this over to the left. What I want to do is find out exactly what is the difference between bullet 1 and bullet 2. So if that's 400, this one's 368. Let's make it maybe 370. That looks pretty good. So there's a difference of 30 between those two. Alright, that ensures that I can have a consistency between my bullets. So this one is bullet 2. Control and D, Control and D. So I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm planning on having 8 bullets in the magazine. So if this one is 370, we've got to reduce 30, so 340. So notice how it lines up nicely. So 310. Down to 280, it lines up nicely. 250. 220. And then finally 190. Okay, notice how they're all nicely lined up with each other as well. Great, so let's just rename these bullet 3, It's not necessary to rename them, to be honest, but just for the sake of it being easy to read. Certainly if you come back to a project after a long time and you're thinking, okay, what's going on here, it's always best to have things organized nicely and that it's really easy to understand. Bear in mind it finishes at bullet 7 because the first one didn't have a number. Oh no, it should be bullet 8. Actually, the first one should have been bullet 1. There we go. Alright, excellent. So now back in our script, what we want to do is we want to apply these to our script. So I'm just going to leave myself a comment, and this is going to be reloading. Okay, and we need access to that reload button. So public of type game object, we'll call reload button. Then we need a bullet count. So private integer, we'll call bullet count, which equals 8, since we know we've got 8 bullets. And then we need to be able to drag all of those bullets into our script. So public of type game object, we'll call bullet 1. Just copy this, Control and C, Control and V, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. We also need some kind of a wait for seconds, which is going to wait until we've actually played our reload animation before it actually refills the bullets. So I'm going to have a wait for seconds. I'm going to call it reload pause equals a new wait for seconds, and it's going to be roughly about 3 seconds. Okay, so now in our shoot, we want to make sure that you can only shoot as long as you've actually got some bullets in your gun. So just underneath the fire, we're going to say if bullet count is greater than 0. And we're going to contain all of this inside of that bullet count. Okay, if you hover over these, it will actually show you what the connecting curly bracket is, and that looks fine to me. Okay, each time that we fire, we want to say bullet count minus minus, so we're reducing that amount of bullets. And then we're going to run a custom function called display bullets. The reason why I have these custom functions is simply so if I've got a function, I don't want to write too much in the function because it becomes harder to read. So by having all of these separate custom functions, it makes it easier to read and it's easier to lay out. So I'll do it on here. Actually, it should be a void display bullets. We're simply going to say if bullet count is equal to 8, and that means we've got all bullets. So we need to ensure that they're all switched on. So we'll say bullet dot set active. Oh, that's bullet count. Sorry, it should be bullet. Now let me check out what I've done there. Oh yes, bullet 1 now. I put a number on it. Bullet 1 dot set active to true. So to switch it on. Let's do the same with all the others. Control and C, Control and V, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to say if bullet count is equal to 7. Instead of having to write all that again, all we're going to do is switch off bullet 8 because you've used one. So we're going to say bullet 8 dot set active to false. So switch it off. Let's copy this. Control and C. Control and V. So that's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're going to say if bullet count is equal to 6, we're going to switch off bullet 7. Bullet count is equal to 5, we're going to switch off bullet 6. If it's 4, we're going to switch off bullet 5. If it's 3, we're going to switch off bullet 4. If it's 2, we're going to switch off bullet 3. And if it's 1, then we're going to switch off bullet 2. And I need another one on the bottom for when we run out of bullets. Okay, if bullet count is equal to 0, then we're going to switch off bullet 1, and we need to switch on our reload button. So reload button dot set active to true. Okay, so that will then display all of our bullets, which is good. All we need to do now is basically call a reload function from our reload button. So we can do so by saying public void, let's call it reload. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is access the arms anim dot set trigger. Let me just double check what we actually called this. So just wait for that to update. So in the animator we called it reload with a capital R. Okay, so we're going to set that trigger reload. Okay, and then as soon as it's done that, we're going to basically start a coroutine because we need to add a pause, and we'll call it wait for reload. And then as soon as we've done that, we want to switch off the reload button. Set active to false. Okay, let's save that. So now down in our IEnumerators, down at the bottom, IEnumerator, we're going to have wait for reload. This is then going to call a yield return, and we called it was it reload pause? There we go. That's going to wait 3 seconds, and then it's going to set our bullet count back to 8. We also need to ensure that we're displaying the bullets. Display bullets, that's what we called it. If you don't call that, you won't get the bullets appear on screen until you actually shoot again. So we have to call that function so it can run through it and basically switch everything back on again. So let's save that. That should work fine now. So all we need to do is attach our bullets to our script. So on the ground, we should now have a whole bunch of empty game objects. So we've got a reload button. Let's drag that in. And by default, that reload button is going to be switched off. And then we need our bullets. Bullet 1, bullet 2, 3, 4, 5. Just make sure that they're going into the correct slots. Okay, there we go. So let's just save this and check this out. So now each time I shoot, I'm getting rid of a bullet. Okay, and then as soon as I've gone through all of those, you notice I can shoot, but it won't be hitting anything until I press reload. Now, for some reason it's not reloading bullets. Ah, I know why. I didn't the reload button, I didn't put anything on the script. I just had the main shoot. So on the main, I'm going to choose reload. I have to call the correct function. Okay, let's try it again. Shoot, 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 shoot. Okay, and then reload. There we go, got his bullets back, and off we go again. Excellent. Okay, good. So what we'll work on in the next video is just giving that reload a bit of a sound.